Okay, this is me showing you how I do my glazing process. The first thing I'm going to do is pour one glaze, and that would be David's DC Red, which is a mixed red glaze. Just pour a little on, and I'm going to let that dry. And go over here, I'll show you something that I've already gotten dry. This one's dry, so I'm going to do some waxing with this one. So I follow the line of decoration inside, get that one spiral there, and now I'm going to put a pattern in, so I guess what I'll do now is I'll wax off a section so that the next layer of glaze is going to go over this section, and I'll allow this layer, the wax, to dry about 3 hours before I do that. So that's why I'm showing you with different This was allowed to dry 3 hours, and the first layer was mixed red, and now I'm going to put a layer of Coleman's red on it. So I'll set it down, I'll stir it up. It's been thinned. I'm going to pour it right in here, and as you can see, when I pour it off, where it was waxed, it repels the glaze. So now this section right here will have 2 layers of glaze. And after this is dry, I'll wax over this, and then I'll wash away the glaze that's out here. I'm setting this one down. I'll show you another one where I've done that, and I wash away the glaze that's out in this other area. But you see the wax repels, or the wax secures the first layer of glaze, so as I'm washing it, it doesn't remove it. And after this, I'm going to let it dry again before I glaze this other section. See, it takes a little bit of time to do that. That one's done. Now I'll leave this alone and let it dry a couple hours before I work on it again. Over here, I'm going to put an edge on this bowl. This one still has, as you can see, it's got 1 layer of glaze, and it was waxed over 3 hours ago. I washed away some of this a little while ago because I'm going to put another layer of glaze on this. This layer is Timaku, and I like this kind of a dark edge because it will like literally frame the piece. So what I'm going to do is dip it because I want that edge done. I'm going to give it 2 dips, letting that sit for just a moment. And give it another little dip. As you can see, allow this to dry. A little bit of things where they've been partially glazed and waxed, and now I'm going to pour a little glaze. As you can see, this has got wax in the center. It's got 2 glazes, and it's been waxed over those 2. And now I'm going to pour another glaze, a thin layer of Laguna Green on this. And it's been thin because I want to I'm going to spray another glaze over it. So I'm just going to get it. All the way. And now I'm going to let that dry. After that dries, I'm going to wipe the outside off and let it get even drier before I do the outside. What'll happen is it'll look something like this one. This one I've poured the inside and let it dry. I poured the outside, and because I'm going to use a second glaze to spray over, I washed away the green in these areas. So when it's got the second glaze over it, it should show this pattern still. I'm going to use a different glaze on this piece. Now this one was waxed. It was poured with mixed red, David's Red, and then I waxed over it, and I washed all the glaze out in this area. This was dipped in Timaku, and then I waxed over that. So we're going to have dark brown and deep red, and then I'm going to use this glaze, which is called Cash Blue, and it's thicker because I'm not going to put another layer over that one. But I will be using an oxide with this. So you can see how that looks with the glaze and the wax. I won't have to wax that again. I'm going to show you the next step in finishing my pieces, and this is where I spray them. These pieces below that you see here have glazes laid out on them. Red center, Timacu, blue center, and areas waxed. If you look, and on the bottom like this one, I don't know if you can see this subtle difference, but this is Laguna green and then this is the raw clay. And when this is sprayed, you should be able to see this Laguna green here and then a different color here. So these are all ready to go, and I have a spray booth over here with a piece ready, and I'm going to show you this one. This one is has a blue glaze underneath and an iron oxide on the outer, and that's all waxed. Then it was poured with Laguna green on both sides, and some of the green was taken away here because I wanted to have that same effect where it's light and green showing through. Alright, I take these pieces of sponge and I put them on the middle to keep from disturbing the glazes and wax. And then I put it on this chuck and I'm going to spin it around. The next thing I do is I'm going to turn on the compressor and the fan because I need the fan. So I'm going to stop talking at that point and you'll just hear the fan going. So, and also it's important to wear a mask. Here we go. Letting that dry for a second before I put another batch on. I also wipe the foot so it doesn't run down on the pot. I want to have control over what's there. Another layer. And then as soon as that dries, I flip it. And now I'm going to work on glazing the inside. Dry on there. Now just one more layer. That should be enough. And this glaze is, I call it gold. Wiping it again. Sometimes the edge is a little bit thin, so I will take a brush and brush a little more gold specifically on the edge. And that's when I put an oxide on the edge as well. Get a little extra color. Let it dry. I might even put another bead on. And then the last thing I would do is put some cobalt oxide or a combination of a blue glaze on it, and that'll be the finishing touch. So that's it.